Alright, 6. Award administration information. U.S. Department of Labor, Employment and Training Administration notice availability of funds opportunity, the announcement, apprenticeship building America grant program announcement type, initial funding opportunity, FOA ETA 2206, catalog federal domestic assistance number 17285. Recipient key dates, closing announcement is April 25th, 2022, no later, grants.gov, submission applications, and then we'll go to page 58, which is 6 award administration information award notices. All award notifications will be posted to the Employment Training Administration homepage of the Department of Labor Gov agency, Employment Training Agency. Applicants selected with the award will contact directly before the grant execution. Non-selected applicants will be notified with the mail, with the email, made with the request for the written debrief of the significant weakness of their application. Selection organization recipient does not constitute with approval of the grant application submitted before the actual grant is awarded. We may enter the negotiations about such items as program components, staffing, funding level, administrative systems in place for the support grant implementation. Negotiating if it does not result in mutually acceptable submission. Grant officer will reserve the right to terminate with the negotiation decline of the fund. The application will reserve the right not to fund the application related to the funding opportunity announcement. Be administrative of the national policy requirements, administrative program requirements. All grantors will be subject to all applicable federal laws, regulations, including Office of Management, Budget, Uniform Guidance, terms and conditions of the award. The grant award under this funding opportunity announcement will be subject to the following administrative standards and provisions. Nonprofit organizational, educational institution for profit, any state and local, the Indian tribe governments of the Title 2 Part 200 for uniform administrative requirements, cost principle, audit requirements of federal awards. Title 2 CFR Part 2900, Department of Labor supplement to Title 2 CFR Part 200. All entities must comply with the Title 29 CFR Part 93. New restrictions allowed in Title 29 CFR Part 94. Government award requirement of the drug-free workplace financial assistance. Title 2 in CFR Part 180. Office of Management guidance for the agency for the government-wide Department of Submission and Design Procurement, where applicable. Title 2 CFR Part 200 audit requirements. Title 29 CFR Part 2 Subpart D equal treatment of the Department of Labor program of the religious organization, protection of religious liberty of the Department of Labor social service provided for the beneficiary. Title 29 CFR Part 31 and discrimination federal assisted programs of the Department of Labor, the effectuation. Title 4 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Title 29 CFR Part 32 non-discrimination based on the handicap programs activity receiving the federal financial assistance. Title 29 CFR Part 35 non-discrimination based on the age of the program activity receiving the federal financial assistance of the Department of Labor. Title 29 CFR Part 36 non-discrimination based on the sex education programs activity related receiving the federal financial assistance. Title 29 CFR Part 388 implementation non-discrimination equal opportunity provision workforce initiative Innovation and Opportunity Act. Title 29 CFR Part 29 and 30 labor standard with the registration apprenticeship program, the equal opportunity apprenticeship training as applicable. Department of Labor 10. The Department of Labor will follow the procedures outlined in the Department of Freedom of Information Act regulations. Title 29 CFR Part 70. The Department of Labor received the Freedom of Information Act request or application for procedure of the Department of Labor Freedom of Information Act regulation for responding to require for the commercial business information submitted to the government will be filed with as well with the Freedom of Information Act exemption procedure. See General of Title 5 U.S. Standard Code 552-29, Title 29 CFR Part 70. Standard grant terms and conditions awards. See the following: Department of Labor Agency ETA grant resource for the other legal requirements. Religious activity. The Department of the Religious Freedom and Restoration Act of the Title 42 U.S. Standard Code 2000 BB apply with all federal laws. Implementation, application, organization, faith-based organization making hiring decision based on the religious belief that may be entitled to receive federal financial assistance for the grant solicitation maintained with the hiring practice as Title 29 CFR 232 the A with the religious organization eligible for the same of the base for any of the other organization. C with the Department of Labor support for the participation of the Department of Labor programs for which they are otherwise eligible to get. The Department of Labor is found with the Department of Labor .gov agency OA SAMS. Office of Apprenticeship SAMS grants, Religious Freedom and Restoration Act and guidance, lobbying, funding, raising, using government and federal funds. In accordance with Section 18 of the Lobbying Disclosure Act of the 1995 Public Law 104 and 65 Title 2 U.S. Standard Code 1611, the nonprofit entity with incorporated with Internal Revenue Service Code with Section 501c4 engaged lobbying activities not eligible to receive federal funds and grants, not activity including awareness raising activity of advocacies activities include fundraising for or lobbying for U.S. federal, state, and local government. Title 2 CFR 200-450 for more information. Transparency Act requirements. Must ensure that you have the necessary process systems and must comply with the reporting requirement of federal funding of the Accountability Transparency Act of 2006, Public Law 109-282, but amended with the Government Funding and Transparency Act of 2008, Public Law 110-252, Title 6, Chapter 2, Section 6202 as follows. Except for those expressed within the Transparency Act under subparagraph 1 and 2 and 3 below, you must ensure that you have the necessary process of the system in place to comply with the sub-award executive total compensation report requirements of the Transparency Act. Should receiving the fund upon the award receive the detail of the information reporting requirements of the Transparency Act described in Title 2, Part 170, Appendix A, which can be found via e-doc access, gpo.gov 210, PDF 210-22705, PDF. Following types of awards are not subject to the Federal Funding and Accountability Transparency Act. Federal awards, individuals who apply for the only or receive a federal awards, natural person unrelated to any business, nonprofit organization, he or she may own or operate on his or her name. Federal awards that need to have the gross income from all sources that are less than $300,000 at any previous tax year. Federal awards require reporting for the will disclose classified information, safeguarding data, including with the personal identified information. Application submitting application respond with a freedom funding opportunity announcement must recognize the confidentiality of the program, personal identifiable and information with other sensitive data paramount with the importance of the Department of Labor. Most deserve except the disclosure allowed with the prior written with approval of the grantor of the court order. By submitting application year with assuring of the data exchange with the conduct of the all through the during the course of the performance of this grant with the conduct of the manner consistent with the applicable federal law, the TEGL 3911 issued June 28, 2012. Also, such activity include with the employment training agency and any other recipients will perform in the manner consistent with the applicable state and federal law. By submitting a grant application, you agree to take all necessary steps to protect the confidential, complying with the following provisions are applicable to governing handling confidential information. You must ensure that the program personal identifiable information sensitivity data developed obtained with the otherwise associated with the Department of Labor, Employment Training Administration funding grants is securely transmitted. To ensure that such personal identifiable information is not transmitted otherwise. Personal identified information otherwise sensitive data transmitted via the email store with the DVD, DVDs, thumb drives, etc. must be encrypted via the Federal Information Process Standards of 142 complaint over the National Institute Standards Technology validated with a cryptographic module. You must not email unencrypted sensitive to the program personal identification information to even include the Employment Training Administration for the contractors. You must take steps necessary to ensure the privacy of the program and personal identification information obtained from the participant, other individual, particularly information unauthorized disclosure must maintain with the personal identification information in accordance with the Employment Training Administration Standard Information Security described with the TEGL number 3911, and any of the updates such that the will provide you with a guarantor's wish for the obtainment of more information on the data security should contact with the federal project officer. You must ensure the program and personal identification and information you during the performance of the grant have obtained with conformity with the applicable federal state laws governing the confidential information. You further acknowledge personal identification and information data obtained through the Employment Training Administration grants must be stored in the area of the physical safety as access from access of the unauthorized personnel with all time of the data and will be processed with the recipient and issue of the equipment managed for the information technology. Services designated locations approved by the Employment Training Administration, accessing, processing, storing with Employment Training Administration personal identification information data on personally owned with equipment off-site location employees home with a non-recipient managed for the information technology. Yahoo Mail is strictly prohibited unless approved by the Employment Training Administration. Your employees or other personnel will have access to the sensitive confidential priority. Private data must be divided with the confidential nature of the information safeguard required to protect the information. There are civil and criminal sections of the non-compliance with the safeguards that are contained in federal, state, and laws. You must have the policy procedure in place with which your employees or other personnel before being granted access to the personal identification information acknowledged with the understanding of the confidential need for the data with the safeguard which they must comply with the handling of the sort of data, as well as the fact that it may be liable to civil and criminal sanctions for the improper disclosure. You must extract the information for the data employed with the Employment Training Administration for any purpose not the statement of the grant agreement. Access to the personal identification information created with the Employment Training Administration grant must be restricted only to those employed with the grant recipient who need the official capacity to perform the duties of the connection and scope of the work of the grant agreement. All personal identification information data must process the manner with the protect confidentially record documents and design to prevent unauthorized person with the retrieval of the records, computer, remote terminal, any other means of the data may be downloaded with the maintained mobile, the portable device only with the data with the encrypted with the NIST validated software product for the base on the FIBS. 142 with encryption. In addition, with the wage data may be accessed only with a secure location. Personal identification data obtained with the recipient through the request of the Employment Training Administration will not be disclosed to anyone but the individual requester, except as permitted with the grant officer by or court ordered. You must permit the Employment and Training Administration to make on-site inspections during the regular business hours for the purpose of conducting other investigations. Sure that you're complying with the confidential requirement described above. The coin for the responsibility you must record applicable to this agreement available to the authorized person, the person of the inspection, review, or audit. You must retain data received with the Employment Training Administration only for the period of time required to you for the assessment of the purpose to satisfy with the applicable federal requirement, retention requirements, and if and any thereafter you agree with all the data that was destroyed, including degaussing, magnetic tape files, deleting electronic data. Record retention. You must follow the federal guidelines of the record retention required to maintain all of the records pertaining to the grant activity for the period of at least 3 years out of the date of the submission of the final expenditure report. See Title 2 CFR 233. 333.7. For more specific information, including information from the start of the record retention period of the award, renewed quarterly, annually, when the records must be retained for more than 3 years. Youth of the contract sub-awards must abide by the following definition: contractor, sub-award, and sub-recipient. Contract means the legal instrument of the non-federal entity defined by the state, the local government, Indian tribe, the institution, higher education, non-profit organization, for-profit entity of the foreign public entity of the foreign organization that carries out of the federal award for the recipient or sub-recipient purchase property, certificate of the carry out of the project program with the under federal award that determines use of the federal funding and opportunity announcements does include the legal instrument, even if the non-federal entity can serve the contract when substantive of the transaction, maybe the definition federal award, sub-award, see the definition sub-award below. Contractor means the entity that receives the contract is defined above. And the contract sub-award means the award provided with the pass-through entity that defined with the non-federal entity that provided with the sub-award with the sub-recipient to carry out the federal program to a sub-recipient, or for a sub-recipient to carry out the federal award received the pass-through entity that does not include the payment of the contractor payments on the individual beneficiary federal program. Sub-award may be provided through any form of legal agreement, including the agreement with the pass-through entity concerned with the contract sub-recipients from the names of the non-federal entity that receive the sub-award from the pass entity that carry out the part of the federal program, but does not include the individual of the beneficiary. Such program sub-recipient must also be recipient of the federal awards directly with the federal awarding agency. You must follow the provision Title 22 CFR 203.30 through 332 with regarding recipient management. Also, C2 CFR 203.08 C6 regarding prior approval of the requirements for this sub-award. When awarding sub-awards, you're required to comply with the provisions on government-wide suspension debarment of the Title 2 CFR Part 180 codified Title 2 CFR Part 2998. Closeout grant award. Any of the receiver of the award with the announcement must comply with the grant and with the Employment Training Administration and the official year of the grant. Information about the process may be found with the Employment Training Grant and Closeout frequently asked question located with the Department of Labor site of the Department of Labor Gov Files, Employment Training Administration Grant, PDF, the GCFNAC. General Closeout Frequency Act question PDF. Other administrative standard of the provision except for specifically provided with a federal opportunity announcement. Acceptance for the application of the award of the federal fund sponsor for the payment of the program does not provide the waiver of any of the grant requirement of the procedure. For example, the Office of Management Budget uniform guidance required of the entity of the procurement procedure to ensure that the procurement transitions are conducted as much of the practical to provide full open competition if the applicant identified with the specific entity to provide goods and services the award does not provide with the justification based on sole source of the procurement, avoid competition. For special program requirements, Employment Training Agency, Employment Training and Administration Evaluations. Condition grant awarded or granted to the required to participate in the evaluation if they undertake with the Department of Labor the evaluation, including the implementation assessment across the grantors, impact outcomes analysis, analyze all of the selected sites within and across the grantors, benefit cost of the analysis, assessment of the return investment, conducting an impact analysis cost involved with the random assignment, which involves random assignment of the eligible participation, and the treatment group, which would receive the program services of an enhanced program services in the control group, which would receive the no program services of a program services that are not enhanced, which may require applicants to collect data elements to aid with the evaluation. As part of the evaluation, the condition of the award and grantors must agree with who make available evaluation contractor participation, employers funding, provide access program operational participation, personal participation, operational financial records, either relevant documents, calculate program costs and benefits, and 3, in case of an impact analysis, facilitate assignment of the by lottery of participants in program services, including possible increased recruitment of the potential participation, and 4, Follow the evaluation procedures specified in the evaluation contract under the direction of the Department of Labor. Performance goals. Please note that the application will help with the outcomes provided with the failure to meet those. The outcomes may result with the technical assistance or other intervention from the employment by the Employment Training Administration may also have a significant impact with the decision about the future grants Employment Training Administration. C. Reporting. You must meet the Department of Labor reporting requirements. Specifically, you must submit the reports of the documents listed by the Department of Labor electronically. Quarterly financial report. The quarterly financial status report. ETA 9130 for the required for the time all funds that be expended for the grant period expired for the quarterly reports are over the due every 45 days end of each for the calendar year quarter. On the financial status report, you must include the sum of award amount to calculate the final indirect cost if applicable. The Department of Labor online electronic reporting system information instruction provided to the grantors for the other guidance Employment Training Administration financial reporting reference of the TEGL 2019 or page the Department of Labor Agency ETA Grants Management reporting quarterly performance report for the grants must submit the quarterly performance report with the 45 days after each of them in the calendar year quarter. Reports must include quarterly information and determine indicator of the performance goal of the last quarterly progress report preserves grantors final performance report. With the report must provide with both quarterly cumulative information with the grant with the performance submission of the requirement to provide with the grantees upon award will also have to provide guidance about the other information required to be collected or reported on either regular basis, special request basis. Alright, then in bold, for grants awarded with the Category 1 State Apprenticeship System Building Modernization categories, Category 2 Expansion for the Registered Apprenticeship, the opportunity to use with the Category 3, ensuring equitable registered apprenticeship pathways through pre-apprenticeship, leading the registered apprenticeship enrollment and equity partnerships. Grantors are required to submit the quarterly progress report containing updates on the implementation progress specified with the grantor statement that with the staff of the grant program outcome of the participation received with grant fund service as described above. These grants will align with the work incentive opportunity act performance reporting document the Department of Labor provide with the grantors will the grantees will access the online reporting system work or WIPs along with the formal guidance for the technical assistance data locate collection reporting. Grantor must submit the quarterly performance report within 45 days of each end of the calendar year. This report includes quarterly performance report, which is quantitative report with all the participation served with the grant program. The quarterly performance report is a quarterly aggregated with individual participation record with the grantee with the collective with the upload with the data file with the WIP into WIPs in order to submit with the quarterly reports. Grant will be expected to track the reports and participation level of data of the Employment Training Administration include Social Security numbers. All the individuals who are provided with the grant fund serve with the Social Security numbers information. Employment Training Administration efficiently match employment data with the state of employment insurance and other wage records. The collection and participation status Social Security number to lessen the burden on the grantees tracking exit-based employment measurements. Work Enforcement Opportunity Act primary indicators of performance while protecting consistent, reliable outcome information to produce regarding the program. Applicant must review the Office of Management budget, approve the reporting requirements that will apply with these grants. Office of Management Control number 12050521. Alright, 3 quarterly narrative performance reports. In addition to the quarterly performance report of the grantor must submit the joint quarterly narrative performance report template ETA 19179 progress report within 45 days after the end of each calendar year quarter during which the grant is prepared a performance for the award. The report includes quarterly information regarding accomplishment, including projections, stories, success stories, upcoming grant activities, promising approaches, processes, as well as the progress toward performance outcomes, including update of the project, curriculum, and training development. Not 7. Agency contacts. We're going to read that one and then we'll get into the other information. Further information for Freedom Funding Opportunity announcement. Please contact Denise Roach, Grant Management Specialist, Office of Grants Management, Roach Denise at Department of Labor Gov. Applicants should email all technical questions to Roach Denise at Department of Labor. Must specify the requirement reference for FOA ETA 2206 along with the question included the contact name and the phone number. The announcement is available at the ETA website www.dol.gov agency ETA grants and grants gov. Other information, and we'll cut the tape there.